One thing that's interesting is I live in a kind of a blue collar part of town. It's definitely not the higher end part, and my apartment is pretty cheap, especially by Western standards. I'll go into my apartment and my expenses in another video, but one thing I've noticed is that the other people who live in my apartment drive the most expensive cars. The people who live in my apartment building, they drive these $100,000, and of course in China, because of the taxes, it's even more expensive to drive these cars. And it just shocks you that their car payment has got to be 10 times what your rent is. It's such the opposite of what it is in the West. Beautiful BMW. Bullseye, Gao. I have elected to stay home tonight. I was originally going to go to Zhuhai, but I'm just tired and I want to get a good night's rest. However, my trip is booked, and over the next couple of days I'm going to be at the Imperial Hot Springs in Zhuhai, the Yuwenshan. I'm very excited. And then I'm also going to go to Macau for a day, so stick around for that. It's going to be great. So a question that I got recently was, if I come to China, will my iPhone work? And if you put this into Google and you look online, and you get all kinds of answers. Yes, it will. No, it won't. And the answer is yes and no. It depends on your iPhone. Now, I have an iPhone 6. It's not a 6S. It's about 2.5 years old. Still works great. No problems with it whatsoever. In fact, I'm very happy with it. And this is what I use to record the majority of my videos. I'm recording this one on a Chinese cell phone that I got, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But what you have to do is it's a different carrier. There's only two carriers here. You have China Mobile and China Telecom, and they have the 4G LTE networks here. However, Apple has, even though they're built here in China, Apple has done a very interesting thing. You have to look on the back of your iPhone, right down here in fine letter, and you can also find this in your regulatory system here about where your iPhone will work, in what networks, in what countries. My iPhone, I bought this in California, and this particular model, it's A1549. It only works on networks in North America, South America, a little bit in Europe, Brazil, Costa Rica, Colombia, Mexico, and that's it. It doesn't work in Hong Kong, it doesn't work in Macau, and it's technically not supposed to work here in China. If you want to get one that works in China on the LTE networks, I'm talking about the 6 and the 6S, then you have to go onto the Apple website and look up your model and where it works. And the reason is they have different systems out here, of course. It's a closed country, so the government kind of keeps track of this stuff. So what I did, I had a Verizon SIM card in this, and then when I came to China, I swapped that out and put a China Mobile SIM card in it. And it works. It's not supposed to work, but it works. Now, if I turn it off, you can see here that I have, can you read that? The Edge network. That's 2G, no 3G, no 4G. It is an Edge network, and that's the best I can do with this model. Now I can use WeChat with that. Apple Maps works, but the translator doesn't work, or it takes forever to translate the data. I mean, we haven't used Edge since the old Blackberries, the blue Blackberries with the track wheel on the side. So it's pretty old technology, and it's kind of a waste for such an amazing phone that this is. Now, that being said, there's Wi-Fi everywhere. I mean, you have Wi-Fi in your house, you have Wi-Fi at Starbucks, in your office, and it works fine with Wi-Fi. However, if you're on a bus or a train or anywhere where there is no Wi-Fi, you're stuck with the Edge network. Now, you're not completely shit out of luck. You still have a downloadable dictionary, so you have a little bit of translation available to you, and you always have Apple Maps, and it will always download the train schedules, the subway schedules, the bus routes, and everything like that, so you can still find your way around. So I've been thinking about buying the iPhone 7. one that works here in China on the LTE. However, for the iPhone 7, Apple only made two basic models. One works throughout the world, every country in the world. They call it the world model, and it works in every country except China. So, so that's a shame. The other model, which is the one they sell here in China, works in China, Hong Kong, and America, and that's it. So you can either buy the world phone and get on a 4G in every country except China, or you can buy the China version and it works only in China and America. So if you go to Thailand or you move to Vietnam or Saudi Arabia or Europe, it's not going to work there. So you spend all that money, plus it's more expensive here in China too. It's like 20-25% more expensive. So I instead elected to buy this Chinese phone. Now let me show you this Chinese phone. Okay, so I've switched phones. I'm now recording on my iPhone so I can show you my Chinese phone. Now I bought this phone about 6 months ago and it works. It works great. It has a 4G network. I paid about 700 RMB for this. It's a Chinese knockoff of a, is it Huawei or something like that? I think it's what it's called. And it's not bad. I mean, it's, oh, who am I kidding? It's shit. It's about $100 smartphone. And you put the SIM card in here and I get the 4G and everything. However, it's a Chinese phone. So I don't get all the apps that I would normally get. I can't put a VPN on this. I actually can download Facebook, and when I'm in Hong Kong, I can get on Facebook. However, through the Chinese firewall here in China, if you are on Wi-Fi, there is no Facebook, there is no YouTube. So that limits it. Also, everything is in Chinese. I mean, it looks like it's in English, right? You can see it's all in English, but the App Store is a Chinese App Store. And the phone, I mean, it's what you get for the $100 phone. It's shit. But it's got like a fingerprint scanner, and I don't even know the manufacturer. It just says designed. Designed is misspelled. It's actually designed DESIGNDE. Designed in Shenzhen, assembled in China, smart mobile phone. It's a complete knockoff. That's what is $100. But I basically got it because of the camera. It's got a forward-facing camera and a rear camera, and it's fairly decent, and it's got about 12 gigs of storage. So when my time runs out on this iPhone or the battery runs out, I switch to this. Now you can use it. There are better phones, Chinese phones, okay, but this will not work outside of China. So you can use your iPhone. I've been using it for a year and it's working just fine. But remember, you have that edge network problem. So if you're in an area where there is no Wi-Fi, then you're stuck with that. I can always take the SIM card out and put it in this. However, I don't have all the features that I'm used to on an iPhone with an American App Store. So take all that into consideration when you're considering phones out here. Now, I have many friends of mine who buy an Oppo or some other kind of Android-based phone out here, and they spend a lot of money on it, and it works great for them. But I love my iPhone. I don't want to get rid of it, and I'm on the fence of whether or not I'm going to be staying in China for a third year. So I'm not going to invest in a Chinese iPhone, spend all that money. But it is working for me. I've lived with it, and you probably can too. But keep in mind, before you start making plans on buying phones and trying to figure out your communication needs out here, take a look at the model, see if it will work here, see if it'll work in whatever country you're visiting. If you have an iPhone 7, you basically have two choices. You have the world model, and then you have the Chinese model. It's just another crazy thing about living here.